Hello, how are you? We have some Q&A to do. I hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Oh, beauty, beauty, beauty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A. Wow, this thing is way down low. Where you can ask me and the community questions about keeping freshwater fish, shrimp, and or plants. Pretty much anything to do with freshwater fish, freshwater aquariums, freshwater shrimp, and plants. Oh man, that is not the best lighting for that. I wonder if I could fix that. Yeah, it's a little better. But as you can see, we're in a different location today. Actually in the main fish room. It's not picking up the light saturation very well. That is looking blinding. Look at that. Looks like I got nuclear lights on that thing. Pretty cool. But anyways, glad to see y'all in here. Hello. All you awesome people in the chat. I'll go ahead and mention now, since there are quite a few of you in here already, that we did not get shipping out this week, of course, because of the holidays. We did not do Thanksgiving shipping. We didn't want the livestock to get stuck in shipments. So next week, we'll be on like Donkey Kong, and we'll get those out to you. And I want to thank you all for your purchases and your support. I could never thank you guys enough. And if you guys are looking for good homegrown fish, shrimp, and plants, well known for my shrimp especially, hit up lrbaquatics.com. Holidays are coming. I could use the extra bread and support and keep this factory rolling for you guys. So, Candy Overhauls, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Much love to you. It says live chat heart. Thank you, Candy. Once again, further reminders, and I did go ahead and switch over. So I'm going to scroll here fast looking for questions. And as always, if you have a question, throw at LRB or definitely a question behind it so I know it's a question mark. Avatar Aquatics says, how did breeding cardinal tetras outside go? Any updates? So when I took them outside, they all did great out there. They looked beautiful out there. But I actually never got any babies from them. And they had a nice area to scatter eggs within algae and corkscrew valve. My guess is my water wasn't soft enough for them out there, because it was kind of a mix between our tap water, which is pretty hard, and the rain that would get in there. So nothing yet good from the cardinal tetras. I still have them in my 125 in the garage though, and they are happy and healthy. They loved it out there. But I ended up putting Daniels out there instead. Just because I knew I wasn't doing them right by doing the water right and everything for them. But I was surprised how well they did with the temp swings between 90 some degrees and even on down to low 70s. Well, awesome. Got a new member, Trish, Casey, MO. Thank you so much for becoming a new member, Trish. Thank you. I appreciate that support. And yes, happy Friday. Hope all that celebrated Thanksgiving enjoyed your Thanksgiving. For those who didn't, sorry. I hope you had a good dinner either way. Avatar, oh wait, I already read that one. Boom. Joshua Perez says, what is the best way to get rid of Blackbeard algae? So this usually always happens on every Q&A. As far as my favorite way to do it is just through water changes, getting rid of organic materials. What I come to find out is more organic materials that you let die off in there, it'll start feeding more of that BBA, because those cells and atoms really don't have anything else to form into, and then like the BBA eats off of it. I'm not sure exactly what eats off of it or what feeds off of it. I'm not sure if anybody knows. But I have learned that if, like, say, you have a bunch of plants die off in your aquarium, it all settles within your substrate, doesn't really get any chance to get out of there or any beneficial bacteria to help eat that waste, will turn it into that BBA. BBA is like the most mysterious algae, I think, out of all the algae. But I do like to use hydrogen peroxide when it comes to taking care of it. So say you have a BBA in a tank, and depending on the situation, often it likes to grow on driftwood or rocks. With those, you can actually pull out and pour hydrogen peroxide on, which will kill it. I don't like to use Excel because Excel is actually cancerous. It's really not good for fish. Lots of people like to use the Flourish Excel. I'm not a fan of it. You get it on your skin, it'll burn you. It's not good stuff. But hydrogen peroxide, I guess it can burn your skin too, but it's not as potent. It ain't as poisonous. But you can use hydrogen peroxide on your rocks and your driftwood out of the tank, or you can take some of your plants out and dip them quickly with it. You don't have to really saturate them much. If you saturate your plants in the hydrogen peroxide, it could actually eat your plants away. But if you can't pull it out of your aquarium, you could always drop your water level and spot treat it with hydrogen peroxide. But the best way to beat it is regular routine water maintenance, whether it be a week or two apart. For some reason, I think it's the cycling of the water as well. See, the less you do water changes in your aquarium, the more cycled that water gets. So that also means the livelier that water gets. So the livelier that water gets, the more chances you have for algae and other things to eat off that liveliness of that water. So when you do your weekly or bi-weekly water changes, it breaks up that cycle and actually helps oxygenate it and breaks up all those living materials through that oxygenation to help keep that water cleaner. Mainly Bettas, thank you so much for the $3 super chat. Says, I loved my order from you. The R Flucians was A++. Well, I'm glad you loved the order. Thank you so much for the support and the order and the super chat. Could never thank you enough. Thank you, Mainly Bettas. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Danikin. I saw you text me earlier today. I meant to get back to that, but it's just been one of those days where you keep trying to do things and you just have something constantly pulling you away from it. Like I was hoping to get a shower today before my live stream, all that. Like none of it happened. It's just been crazy. James Shepard says, haha, your head is massive. Got you on the big screen TV. That's hilarious, James. Hello, big TV. Scrolling. I'm kind of hopping around here. Rogers Aquarium says, Lucas, I still have plants I ordered from you 5 years ago. Crypt Hudoroi is awesome. Well, I'm glad you got some of that. I haven't sold any of that for actually quite some time. I haven't had it on the website. I've got a lot of it around the fish room, though. I need to probably put those back on. But glad to hear they're still doing well. Jessica Hussey says, what do you feed? The Tetra Color Tropical Granules. You know it. It's what fish crave. Tennessee H2O says, I really need tips on Synodontis Multicatfish. I got 6 juveniles today. So the Synodontis Multicats, I've got some Luna Penis over here. We'll actually look at them because they're really cool, and it'll give you a better visual of what I'm talking about as well. They're actually in here with some CPDs. But you see them, they're really cool. They're like little sharks. And the neat thing about these is you can actually breed them out to different colors. I believe overseas in Europe, I've seen somewhere where they had some of these where they were more white. They had more of the white and the more. See how that one's got a little more white in it? They're really pretty wild, but they're like little mini sharks. Really easy to take care of. They really don't they're not sticklers for water quality as far as like whether it's soft or hard. Really just feed them well. They'll eat off the top or bottom. Real person will fish. Not really aggressive. As you can see, I got them here with CBDs. Now, if you have a fish that lays on the bottom, See, Wesley used to stick his fingers in here in the tank down below. See how they'll nibble on you and stuff? They're really neat fish. Really easy to keep. They can hold their own with cichlids. Oh, I can feel their little nibbles. Really cool fish. And these were raised up from eggs too. So I did breed these out, which I used this like hut. So it's like a cap with a hole in it, and then it's got a shower drain. So what'll happen, you can get like a glass bowl or a glass tray or a plate or something, put it down there. But the adults will go into that. It's like a little hut, and then they'll breed over the drain. Then you can collect the eggs from there. That's how I got those guys. I'm surprised all these guys are out. You must be really hungry. It is close to feeding time, so these are the parents. Actually, I need to redo this tank. If you guys need any guppy grass, I got guppy grass dirt cheap right now. Dirt cheap on the website. So check that out, special buy section. That's where most of my in-stock stuff is. Let's see. LRB, would rainbows be okay with a male betta? That's kind of a gamble, just because of their fins and how wavy they are. Depends on the space that's provided. Depends on the ratio of the rainbows. Depends on the type of rainbow too. So that's kind of a loaded question with a lot of variables that are left unanswered. DLC Aqua Terror. Thank you so much, DLC. Didn't say anything, but throwing down a $30 super chat. That's huge. That's huge. Thank you so much. That is awesome. And Danikin Aquatics, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says, no worries, bro. I understand. Busy. Hope you had a great turkey day. Well, hope you did too. Tell tell Danny. I said, I don't know if I'm talking to Danny or Ken half the time with this. I'm always guessing I'm talking to Ken, but if I am not talking to Danny, tell Danny I said hello and happy Thanksgiving as well. And thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And Chris Pinto, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, what up, Rotato? Throwing the spuds at me. Says, ever have a moss ball break apart and take over a tank? Yeah, that definitely can happen with certain moss balls. Mauritia's one. It's not a moss, but it's kind of like a moss. Coral moss, that'll happen. That's what I never got. Like, some of the tanks that I see that are aquascaped, real nice aquascape tanks, they'll have like these different mosses. And you know, they have to do some really, really good cleanup trimming to keep those mosses from spreading. It takes some real work. When I see those different types of mosses all within one of a tank, I give mad respect to those who aquascape and maintain those, because it's not easy, especially when you get the little fronds mixing in with the other fronds. It's quite a bit of a task to complete, but it'll definitely happen if they can float around, especially in a non-filtered tank, to filter out those fronds. It could become madness for sure. But Chris, thank you so much for the support and the super chat. You guys are absolutely awesome. And thank you. I could not thank you enough. BJ Palmer says, I have a question about using bricks in shrimp and fish tanks. What do you have to do to the bricks? So I would just use it. I just rinse it out real well. If it's a brand new brick, probably wouldn't hurt to like leave it outside, let it weather outside a little bit in case there's any kind of toxins in it or any chemicals through its process, which really shouldn't be. Should just be baked clay if it's nice and clean. But you never know, like on the pallet or skid, there may have been oil or gas from this, that, or other. Never hurts to soak it and check it. But for the most part, most bricks are just clay and fired, and should just be able to slap her in there. Cannot seem to get guppy grass to grow. Well, sometimes with too much light, it can be hard to grow guppy grass. Guppy grass actually really loves low light. It really, really loves its low light. And it likes more of a mineral-based water opposed to something real acidic and lacking lots of minerals. So it's easier to grow it in harder water than softer water is what I'm trying to say. In between where you can get it in neutral water is always the best. And I think that's really goes for any fish or plant when it comes to aquariums. The more you can get closer to neutral on anything with your water, the better off you'll be altogether in this hobby for sure. Almost 3 a.m. Water change in Scotland. Gary Stein. I'm not sure if it's Steen or Stein, but Gary, I feel ya. I've been there with those 3 a.m. water changes many a time. Some of my old members may remember my 3 a.m. live stream videos from back in the day. Streetwise, thank you so much for the super chat. Says thanks for encouraging folks in the hobby. Well, thank you, Streetwise, for your support as always. You've been awesome to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And helping encourage me to be here for you guys. That I can never thank you guys enough for. What loaches do you have? Right now, pygmy chain loaches are the only loaches I actually keep. Loaches can be tricky because they really like to eat your snails and eggs, so I don't keep them in a lot of tanks and really only keep those because I want to breed those that are on my bucket list of breeding. So I don't really keep a whole lot of loaches because most of my tanks are for breeding, and I'm not really trying to have them eat my babies. Even though I haven't been doing much breeding for fish lately. And Fish Fever, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. I appreciate you. Throwing that dookie emoji again. Kevin Leong says, how do you make your wood shrimp havens? I notice you use a lot of rock havens. I am planning on buying some shrimp from you soon. So with the wood's a little more trickier if you go non-filter, just due to the breakdown of organic materials. It can tend to cloud the water up just because your shrimp will graze on it and constantly kick stuff up, and then the bacteria must feed off that wood or something when they kick it up. But every single shrimp tank that I tried to make a shrimp wood haven out of ended up having bacterial blooms within the water column. Never had any issue with the shrimp. Never bothered the shrimp with that bloom, but it can be unsightly for some. So I would recommend the rock over the wood. Now there is a plus to the wood over the rock because now the water quality may seem unsightly if you just let it go. But at the same time, that wood is feeding those shrimp over that time. And since the bloom has no effect to the shrimp, then, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. Because it is nice having that wood in there to feed the colony because they can really, really, really never starve with that and really blow up in population. Hello, Nietzsche. Let's see. Most pro aquascapes are like a daily thing, not really a practical tank. Yeah, that's very true. Secret history living in your aquarium. And glad to see you in here too, man. I know you're coloring on that latest art print, and I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. El Shrimp says, I have it on a 20 long. He is pretty chill, and I have dwarf water lettuce, white long roots, and 3 neon tetras. Which rainbows would you recommend? Now, dwarf neon rainbow tetras, you'd probably be good with like a school of 6 in there. 4 to 6. 3 dwarf neon tetras. That would be good. And then you could probably even do some little cory cats within that aquarium. Just be careful with that dwarf water lettuce. If you let it take over the whole top, it can pull up too much oxygen out of the water during the night which could cause problems if there's no break in the water tension to exchange oxygen. I learned that the hard way myself. John Cox says vinegar to clean off new bricks to remove the oil that is used on mold as a release agent. Yeah, some bricks may have that mold inhibitor in it too. I never thought about that. I guess vinegar wouldn't be bad because vinegar is not really going to be that bad if you get it within your water. I don't know. I honestly, I just let Mother Nature weather them or just go try to find some old bricks outside. I wonder how many of the bricks actually get a mold inhibitor in them. That's interesting to think about. Crazy Ninja says, I ordered plants last Thursday. When will it be shipped? So they will be shipped out this Wednesday coming up. Since it was Thanksgiving, the holidays, there was no chance of us even getting them out this week because they would have got stuck. It would have just not been good for anybody and the fish. So we will have them out on Wednesday, and we will be ready to get them out to you guys. And you will be contacted with the tracking number and all that stuff. But thank you for your order and your support. Kind of all over on this chat here. Too much light and guppy grass just stays dense and slow grows. Yes. For some reason, I don't know why it is. Too strong light just makes that guppy grass grow slower. You would think it would be the totally opposite way. You'd be like, oh, I got this powerful light. Watch this stuff just go gangbusters. No, it doesn't. It's weird. Curtis Finn says, how are your jade shrimp doing? Last question from me. So I don't have any like specific jade lines going because I've never come across a real good jade line that would even hold any kind of value to working with. But I also haven't been in the market for them for a while either. But I do still have the green Rillies, the green jade Rillies going. I love the 3 a.m. videos. You've changed, man. I did change. We all change. If we don't change, what are we doing? Do. We gotta live and learn, right? That was hard back in those days, dude. I went through at least one all-nighter every week for a year. That was hard to bounce back from. But I'm glad I did it because, shoot, look at me now. It worked. Danny Masterson says, do dirted tanks go through a super high ammonia spike at first? I guess it depends on what kind of dirt you use. If you're using that potted soil stuff, yeah, very, very likely that it could have a high ammonia spike just due to manures or something that they may put in that dirted tank. But you could do water changes to help dilute that. Dilution's the solution to any type of saturation of anything. BJ Palmer says, another brick question. I have a brick from my old elementary school and there's mortar still attached. Can I use that one or acids from mortar? I don't think the acids from the mortar will actually be much of an issue. And if it's an old brick, it's more than likely weathered out any kind of acidity agents or anything that may have been within that mortar. And now you're just pretty much left with aggregate and sand and whatnot. Scrolling. Once again, sorry if I'm missing your guys' questions. Dustin James Becker says, small bugs that have larvae and substrate, then they swim up to the top and they look like small flies. Only in my shrimp tank, I think because there are no fish in the shrimp tanks. Any idea? Yes. So that does happen, especially if you live anywhere close to any body of water that may have mayflies or anything of the sort. I'm not exactly sure what exact fly it is, but I have seen similar things myself. I'll even get them in some of my fish tanks. Because, I mean, I live right next to a lake. But nothing to worry about. They're harmless. Kim Cunningham says, need advice on using Fluval FX6 on 125. So the best thing to do if you got a 125 and that FX6, let me see, which thing, oh, that's way, okay. So I would get the flow going that way and then have it come back around down, then have your intake there so it can suck all the crap or whatever into the filter. Then you'll just get a nice cycle of flow there between something like that. And the good thing about the FX6 is you can adjust the flow to it. So watch your fish. Test out the flow with your fish, because a lot of times with our filters, especially with canister filters, we'll run them too high for our fish where they've got to constantly work and try to maneuver their way through the current, because often in nature, if this was a natural body of water, say it was a river or a creek, these fish would not be in the rapids. Like maybe part of the time they may go play in the rapids or may go try to get some food out of the rapids, but the majority of the day they're going to sit over in the shallows or in the deep end where there's not as much current, and then just kind of hang out and frolic and socialize with each other. But that's the good thing about the FX6 is you can change the flow on all that. This tank actually used to have a FX6 on it. It's in storage now, or I might have gave it away. Not a whole lot of questions. Oh, Lumber Zach says, bought 10 scriddles. How fast do they grow? Most of algae to clean in my 55s. So with the neocaridinias, they're not like ammonos. They don't go crazy on algae, and they don't get as big as ammonos either. So the scriddles that I gave you, more than likely the biggest shrimp in there is the biggest one. So that's something to judge off of. Now, as fast as they grow, I mean, oh, excuse me, it doesn't take them long. Like, they can grow within full size, I believe, in 6 months. And most are like a couple months that old that I give to you. It's that time. What time is it already? We're only 27 minutes in here. We're gonna start freaking out. We haven't even been fed. Let me turn these guys back on here real quick. Get out of my comfy seat. You know, gotta have the timers. I still gotta get all my fish art up too. I still got this just sitting here forever. My forever's to-dos. I don't know if you guys seen this yet though. This is pretty cool. This is the Luigia. Or no. This is Lymphnophilia aromatica. See where the leaves got brown? That's just because the being wintertime, it's really dry in here, but during summer it was getting like purple and pink and all kinds of stuff. I did finally throw some females into the all-male Endler guppy tank though, just to see what will happen. They do have babies in there now. For those who know about that tank. It needs a haircut. A lot of my tanks need a haircut. The lighting's a little better on this end. Okay. Scrolling. Now I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom because I'm not even sure how far away I am. So I am going all the way down to the bottom. So here, okay, boom. J-Bone's the first. I was wondering when you will have your black bar endlers back in stock because I need to freshen up my tank. So email Lady LRB at lrbaquatics.orders@gmail.com, and she could probably take care of you. I've got some setback. Always have something setback. 305 Richie Rich says, what would happen to low light plants under highlight? Which light do you think is a good around light? So most of the lights I actually use are just regular random shop lights that you can get from Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, just really anywhere. I think they're hungry. They're like about to eat me. But I don't know. The aquanites are really well too. I think they've come a long way with the aquanites as far as the power needed and how they're set up. Which the aquanites are what I get off of eBay for dirt cheap, real dirt cheap. That can compare with the price of a shop light that's only like 20-30 bucks. And I run them around. I like the 6500K. I definitely like the white look, the whitish bluish look over that yellowish tint. And then usually about 4,000 lumen power to 5,000 lumen power. And that would be on, I would say, a 29 high or bigger. Now anything lower, you probably want to go more towards the 3,000 lumen power. We often tend to overlight way more than underlight when it comes to plants. And it really causes problems for those low light, slow growers. It's really amazing how well plants actually do, aquatic plants do, without and with minimal light. I've tested that on all kinds of situations, whether it be algae or other plants growing over it or whatever. Because, like, I could pull this algae here, or this stuff that's over the top of it, and then there could be, like, all these, like crypts, or there's another plant I have in there. Not sage, but it's an aereo of some sort. But I've seen some of the best Downoi, Helferite Downoi I've had underneath moss that had hardly any light. Same with mini crypts, vows, all kinds of plants. That's why floating plants really aren't bad, because it kind of helps you with that as well. So you can grow something on top, but then let me flip you over. Then you can have the dim coverage, because the fish actually really prefer the darker coverage. Same thing with like breeding and with eggs. Some eggs are actually light sensitive and do way better with next to no light. So that's why top coverage is always good too. And on the importance of top coverage is most fish predation can come from the top as well. So they feel safer when they've got something to go up underneath and hide into and stuff. But the reflection is hard to see, but they're like, you see that root system in there. It's insanity. And all that is riccia, and then I just stuck a stem plane on top of it, Lymphanophilia aromatica. But you could do it with all types of stem plants. There's lots of floating plants you can get to. But this is one of my favorite combos, because you can use the riccia as like a substrate media, because it's perfect for it, the way it intertwines. Boing, 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 boing. Always wanted to make like a little golf photo, like put it in a little golf hole with a golf flag. I think that'd be cool. But I don't have time to do those fancy cute pics that you'd put on Instagram. It's fun to play with though, I won't lie. And I got a bunch over there for my half-beaks. My half-beaks like to hide in that. Oh, there's a baby half-beak right there. Oh, you ran away. Zoom. Alright, can we get our light back here? Shoom. Nice. Kevin Long says, how size river rocks do you use for the rock havens for shrimp cover? How do you make your wood shrimp havens? Okay, so with rock coverage, it really depends. I mean, you can use a variable amount of sizes, and the more varied sizes you use, the more you can make it look like it's blended and natural within it. But more rocks, the better. Let me get you guys over into the Blue Dream tank. There's a nice rock pile right there. These shrimp, or the snails, are really taking over this tank. But you can see they're like medium, think like medium, like 2 inch, 1 inch, 2, or well, yeah, probably about 2 inch, 2 to 3 inch. And then this rock pile, for instance, it's got bigger and then it's got smaller. So you can make it look all sorts of different ways. Or maybe do a big rock and then put small ones around it. Maybe do driftwood in between it. There's all kinds of good looks and ways you could do it. And then this one, this is like a rock pile. And then you got moss on top of it. So then it's just super shrimp haven. Like it don't get no shrimp. It doesn't get any more shrimp friendly than rock havens with tons of moss. That's that pilo moss. But as I mentioned with the water quality and cloudiness of water, for instance, this is the driftwood tank that I have with my fire reds. As you can see, all the fire reds look good. They're everywhere, swimming about, no bodies. I mean, tons of babies. I don't know how well you guys can see this. There's babies galore. But that, for some reason, the driftwood just, with the shrimp, it always gets to the water quality. But, I mean, you just chuck it in there, throw them in there. Now, to combat this, I am trying to combat this. I think part of the problem was my light was too low, as far as too dim. So, I didn't have enough plants really helping to combat this. I'm hoping I can combat this bacterial bloom by growing out this moss more. So, we'll see here over time how well this tank does with the new light that I have on it. I kind of put it in the back, that way algae can grow on the back wall opposed to the front wall. Put more of the powerful light on the back. And hopefully get that moss to grow through all this, which I'm already seeing nice new growth on the moss here. Anytime you see that greener green coming out of there, from that dark green, that's when you know you're on the right path of your plant. Same thing with this plant. As you can see, it was getting that green spot, dust algae there. But see, I've got nice new growth here on this. So I know this plant's okay. Now I could trim that and it could help the plant, but I really don't have time to deal with that. So I'll let it just fall off natural. These guys will eat it. Do my water changes. The more that moss grows out, the more it'll help with the water quality of all that, and it'll hold more beneficial bacteria within that moss too, which that beneficial bacteria can help filter out all that whiteness and bacterial bloom. So you can fight bacteria with bacteria as well. These guys are hungry. What are they eating? A molt? Looks like they're eating a molt. There is tons of little bitty babies. Now if I should throw some food in here. We'll throw some food in here and then we'll come back and show you guys what it really looks like when they're going crazy. It says, no, not that tank. Okay, let me throw some food in here. There's some more shrimp too. I'll flip you guys over. Bacteria bloom, I heard a Dabsichim stability will clear it up. Yeah, possibly. I'm sure they got things in there that would clear it up. And to really get these shrimp towards the front, I use like these barley pellets. Shrimp love them. Alright, blind cave Tetra tips. I really don't know, Craig Logan. I've never... I mean, I've kept them. I know they're not too finicky. I know they can probably be problematic to feed because they're blind. So no filter tank would probably be great for them, because you get all the little tiny stuff for them to eat. For instance, like these seed shrimp that you would get from a non-filtered tank. I don't think they're picky on water quality, the blind cave tetras. As far as breeding them, I couldn't even tell you. I should probably do the yellows too, because the yellows look bomb. What's your take on bee pollen for shrimp? They love it, and I do think with the caradinas, it does help trigger them in breeding mode for sure. There are some of those caradinia special foods that are for breeding. They really do work. They work real well. Alright, that's enough for now. So many takes. I'm gonna get these guys going. These Bloody Marys. Kinda hard to see. Alright, I'm gonna sit back down. Get to all these questions. Holy moly, did I about miss this huge super chat? Ty Horton. Thank you so much for the awesome super chat. Throwing down a $20, says, finally got to catch a live stream after being busy every Friday. Hope everything's been going good. Well, glad to see you again, Ty. And everything's been going all right. We're keeping it going, keeping me busy. Hopefully I'll get some help here soon and we'll start smashing out more videos and stuff. Wish there was 48 hours in a day, but I'm sure you know how that goes with how you've been busy lately, but hope things are getting better for you as well. I hope everything's well. Thank you so much, Ty. Always great to see you in here. Especially when you're throwing 20s my way, brother. This is really, like, without your guys' help, you guys really don't understand how helpful your guys' super chats really are, and your memberships and stuff. It makes a huge difference in my day-to-day life. Like, I know I got a house, bunch of aquariums and stuff, but at the same time, like, keeping up with, like, the lights going down and stuff like that, and the bills. I mean, you guys know how life is. I ain't gotta tell you guys. Secret History says, when I said, Lucas, do you have any advice for my YouTube channel? He said to me 4.5 years ago, yeah, run, get out, I'll take over your life. Oh, and you'll learn your stuff, that helps. Is that what I said to you? I don't think I said run, get out. I always try to motivate people to follow their dreams. But yes, it is great if you are starting a YouTube channel. It is a great way to teach and learn yourself, because when you teach others, you also have to know what you're talking about. And therefore, you are forced to learn. J Bones the First says, do you know when your black bar Endlers are going to be back in stock? I think I answered that one already. Priscilla MK, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Always great to see you, Priscilla. Hope you're doing well there in Colorado. I need to make a trip to Colorado here someday and visit you. It says, keep it up. Thank you so much, Priscilla. You keep it up as well. Cayman, Fred and Hagen, thank you so much for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. Very, very much. I wish I had a better way to show my Hello, Mason, my nephew. Glad to see you in here, brother. Hope the family's doing well. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Ken Cunningham says, I had planned to put 2 75-gallon OB tanks in the 125. Now I'm thinking rainbows. What do you think? I mean, you're talking to me about rainbows. I'm a little partial to rainbows over OBs, so it's really honestly what you think, not really so much what I think, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the one laying next to the tank. So really think about what you want. And I think I got way back over to where I was in the chat. Oh yeah, I'm way away from chat. Let me scroll all the way down to the bottom again. Scroll. Make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Alright. I am at the bottom. Shout out from Brazil. Any insights on platies? Thanks, man. LH Pisa, or however you pronounce that last one. As far as platies, I absolutely love platies, mollies, swordtails, anything of the sort of those fish. Just because they're constantly nibbling, they're constantly eating. In planted tanks, they're great. As far as a symbiotic relationship, they're probably one of the best fish you can get for planted aquariums, as well as endlers and guppies. Just because they constantly go around, they graze off of the organics or stuff that may sit on leaves, any algae that may grow up on it. They just keep things disturbed so algae can't really settle. Same with the biofilm on the top of the water. They'll take care of all that stuff. And I absolutely love them, man. They're not too picky as far as like water quality, whether hard or soft water. They don't really care. Now, if it is too soft, too acidic, that does become problematic because they do need the mineralization for their bodies. And do I like guppies? I love guppies. Like I mentioned before, guppies are one of the most symbiotic fish when it comes to the cycle of keeping a nice planted aquariums with little to no work. Stephen Truth Seeker says these days there seems to be a lot of platy hate. Really? Why? Platy hate? What's the point of hating a platy? I don't see what the point. Why would you hate a platy? There's swordtails in here, which to me, a swordtail, a platy, a molly, they're all the same fish. They're pretty much doing the same thing. Now, I know technically they're not, but for the most part, within their behavior and how they act and how they treat a tank and live within the ecosystem of a tank, they're just like, oh, there's the swordtail, right? There, the orange one. But he'll go through, he'll pick on all the leaves and stuff, keep them clean for me, keep that mulm from sitting on the leaves. Because when you have mulm sitting on leaves, that's what's usually going to cause your algae for you. Steamfont Aquatics, glad to see you in here, old steamboat. My boy Bob says, why Robin Hood over Weeble? You know what? I don't even Robin Hood now. I set that up because I was doing cryptocurrencies. I was actually going to set cryptocurrencies on my website and everything else too. Just because, I mean, it's not a bad investment. And honestly, I wish I still would have done it because the market's been great. But I ended up having to sell all my cryptocurrencies to pay for that pond. Which I'm still kind of paying for. Big shout out to Michiana Aquascapes for helping me out with that pond and helping me with my financial plan for that pond, because I'm still working on that. But yeah, that's why I picked Robinhood, because they would give you a stock if somebody signed up for it. But I'm not actually doing that anymore. And of course, right when I got out, it's about the time it jumped up. It's just the way she goes. Sebastian Osvast, but thank you, Steamfont Aquatics, for the super chat. I appreciate it, brother, and always great to see you in here. Sebastian Osvast says, what's your favorite aquarium fish? It's impossible to pick a favorite aquarium fish. There is way too many cool aquarium fish types, let alone just one fish. I could not even pick a type. Whether it be catfish, rainbows, guppies, killies, tetras, corridoras, loaches, discus, cichlids. Even though I don't keep a lot of cichlids, there are some really, really cool cichlids out there. And I have kept many cool cichlids, more of the smaller ones. And Lars K, my brother, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Always great to see you in here, Lars. Hope you're doing well. Now it feels like a Friday when Lars throws down his super chat. I swear, you rarely miss a Friday. And I appreciate it more than anything, brother. Saltwater mollies are the best. Yeah, that's the cool thing about mollies too, is they can live in saltwater. Platies are cuter than guppies any day of the week, says son of a quack. Oh man. I had to put a poll up for who's the cutest fish. The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium says, Lucas, do you still keep up with Rob much these days? His blue bolts were looking pretty good I saw them. It's been a while since I hit up Rob. It has been quite a while. I won't lie. After the whole everybody locked down and everything, it just kind of gave me an excuse to be stuck in my fish room, which I mean totally worked for me because I was gone like every weekend the last year. So it's been kind of nice just being at home and being around the fish room. But I do need to get back to like getting out there, get some videos. There's this one video this lady sent me of her classroom. Is absolutely amazing. I need to hit her back and see if she'll let me share that video with you guys, or at least let me come and video it for her. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So that is hopefully something I'll have in the pipeline here soon. I would like to go visit Primetime Aquatics up there in Chicago. I haven't been to his place yet. I just felt I went to Rob's quite a bit there the last year, and I don't know. He ain't never hit me back either. But we're all busy around these times. And especially with us that have businesses within the aquatic hobby. Like, since everybody's at home, it's been really, really, really busy for us all. Let's see. Chad Lee says, I bought some of the corkscrew valve growing crazy, but does it get taller with highlight or low light? I think it gets shorter with higher light, taller with lower light. But you don't want to go too low. With the higher light, it'll start getting a lot of the reds in it too. It can grow tall with the highlight, it just takes a little longer. And once again, I'm sorry if I'm missing any of your guys' questions. I cannot get to them all. I'm reading like 4 columns at a, or excuse me, 4 columns at a time here. You should try zebra acaras. I heard of the zebra acaras. Last thing I kept that was like that was a Laticara buckle cough. Those were really cool. Kind of had like purplish bellies and stuff. I have a whole video of it from like years ago. Thank you, Sebastian, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Glad I answered your question then. Get that sub. Woo. Let's see. Scrolling for questions still. Debbie Barnes, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Thanks for all the great content. Well, thank you for the support, Debbie. I'm just glad I'm alive to be here for you guys. Life is crazy. And we gotta love and live and enjoy it while we can. That's all I can do is try to remind you guys just, I know life gets crazy. 2020, whatever, there's all kinds of excuses for this, that, and other, but really, we have it pretty good. We have it pretty good in life as far as, like, our comforts and conveniences as humans, and to even be able to keep fish in aquariums and stuff like that. Cayman Fredenhagen says, do you need an airstone or water surface disturbance in natural tanks? So, actually, you don't. Now, it does depend on your stocking level. If you've got like a way overstocked tank such as this right here, if I don't have something breaking up that surface tension, then it could become problematic at night, because what happens is the plants can soak up all the oxygen at night, which can make it hard for the fish to breathe if there is no water tension breakup. But some fish like mollies, platies, guppies, and other fish can naturally break up the surface and eat that biofilm off of it. So it really kind of depends on what fish, the stocking levels, and all that. New Mexico Aquatics says, do cherry shrimp always get darker as they age, little Bobby? No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so at all. They all kind of just normally stay the same color throughout their age. Now, I guess when they get to like real grandma, like old age, and they're like huge, then yeah, I think they could possibly get a bit redder. But they gotta be super old. Super duper old. Did you name any of your fish? I haven't named any of my fish. I got too many fish to name. I did, I'd probably forget that I named it just because I have way too much going on. It's like, oh yeah, I named that fish. That was like last week. Felt like a year. Oh wait, that was only yesterday. You know, it's what time's like for me sometimes. Sebastian asks, what pH does your tank have to be able to sustain guppies? So they like it more in the higher pH, but I don't do pH. I actually do TDS, total dissolved solids, which will tell me more on how alkalytic or acidic or neutral my water is. If you go off of pH, pH can be a goose chase, and it actually reads per hydrogen, and it can throw you off depending on the oxygenation of your water and some other factors. So I actually quit testing pH and started going more for TDS, which is a combination of your GH, KH, and just slightly a few other things. So if you do know your GH and KH, you can tell pretty much your TDS from that. Just combo the numbers together to give you your number. Still Angus, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Does Fluval stratum provide fertilizer for plants? To be honest, I don't know. Because it seems like a pretty solid substrate. Like, if I remember right, that's kind of like flaky coal-like stuff. I've never been a real fan of it, to be honest. And for plants, it's really hard to tell if they're actually getting the fertilizer from your water column, or what you're feeding them, or the fish waste, or the fish food that you're putting in it, on how much they're really doing. Now, if you ask me about a substrate like ADA aqua soil, whether that actually feeds the plants real well and stuff, that in my opinion is really noticeable. Same with Brightwell. It's almost day and night as far as like the nutrient value you can see within plants. I have never seen that with the Fluval stratum myself, but I could be wrong because I have not used it that much. Maybe like 1 or 2 tanks. Tom L, have you ever kept Sulawesi shrimp? I have. I love the cardinal shrimp, and I have bred them. They are more picky, and they love really hot water, and I mean like 86 degrees if you really want to get them going. Sarah calling me out? What's Sarah calling me out on? Oh my, he lies. What am I lying about now, Sarah? Jeez. Hard telling what she's talking about. And Sarah's Lady LRB, so she's giving me a hard time. I'm gonna scroll back down to the bottom here. So I feel like the chat has gotten way away from me. And yes, it has. I don't see any questions though. Daniel Bear says, what is the best way to clean a sponge filter in aquarium after used to quarantine sick fish? Burn it all. I'm just kidding. I really don't know, to be honest. I don't really go through a whole lot of that process. Because, I mean, really all my tanks have substrate and everything else. So whatever would be in the filter would be in my substrate. The trick I would say is to identify whatever the problem was. And then you can actually know what and how you should combat what was in the tank to make sure whatever it was is gone. For instance, let's say like they had ick. We know that ick has a life cycle of 28 days, so you're at least going to want to medicate that tank or raise the temperature of that tank to I mean, people say 86 degrees. I would do 90 just to be safe. It can't live past there. So you'd have to do that for at least 28 days. Instead of taking out your sponge and everything and putting it in bleach and doing all that and pretty much resetting everything. That's how I would really go about it. What is my oldest running tank? The oldest tank I have in my fish room is actually a 10-gallon. I'll show it to you. As far as how long it's been running, let's see, I think I've had it for, oh man, how long have I mean, you can tell from the red algae, I've had it forever. Let's see, I would say almost like 10 years plus, 10, 12 years this tank's been around. Not in this spot, it's actually been into like 4 different places with me. As far as in the fish room here, the oldest, longest running tank would probably be the 75 and the 40s down here. Which I don't do much with. Everything just kind of sustains itself anymore. Check out those yellows. I need to get some of this Java fern back on the site too. Always hang out in the corners. Everybody's hungry. Hungry, hungry. Yum, 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 yum. I wish these guys would breed. Look at this beautiful pair of guppies. They do absolutely nothing for me. They have all this great space to breed. Lazy. So lazy to break out that berry manilow. And sorry if I'm not answering your guys' questions. Hey look, a white Endler. White-ish. I'm past the hour mark. I'm retired now. Just playing. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. But we'll go check out the shrimp before I hop off here. We'll feed these rainbow fish too. And sorry if I missed your guys' questions. Because as I am rolling through the fish room here, it's a little harder to finger my phone to find your questions. Oh, here we go. There's some fire. I have a soft spot for the yellows too, but for some reason the yellows do not sell nearly as well as the fire reds and the blue dreams. I think the reason why fire reds sell so well is just because it's the cherry shrimp. Like, people know the cherry shrimp and they think that they're the hardiest shrimp out there, which in reality there is no difference between the cherry shrimp and the blue dream shrimp and any other color of Neo as far as like how hardy they are. Now as far as the yellows, I did learn that the yellows are a little more vivacious when it comes to eating, so they can be more likely to go cannibal sooner than later. Well, there's a fire. But you can see that water does nothing to the shrimp. Like, you don't see any like necrosis or any shrimp. Like, you see little white pellets there, but you don't see anything within the shrimp, any of them. So it doesn't affect them at all. Never have. And the blue dreams, blueberry surprise. Look like Blueberry Hill. Zoom, 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 zoom. And then you got all these in here. You can't even really see them. This is just too dark. Not enough light. I need to redo this tank. Just the combo with the crip and the moss. I need to find a new home for that crip. I need to find a new home for you too. He doesn't even have a lady friend to be breeding. So this tank's just pretty much doing nothing. Boring. All the to-dos. Well, I think they're in spar mode. They're sparring. Some goofy guppies. Alright, I'm gonna have to hop off here. I appreciate you all hanging out with me on this lovely Friday evening. Oh wait, I'm gonna feed these guys for you before I hop off. Yes, it's a lot of shrimp. And if you guys need shrimp, lrbaquatics.com. Alright, these guys are so fun to feed. Old Tetra color tropical granules for those that don't know what I feed, and those who are wondering what I feed. Are you fish ready? Let's get you guys in the light. Let's get you in the light. Oh, well, there goes my cover. Ready? 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 I think they're ready. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. It's a fish storm. Like a storm of fish. Yum, 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 yum. I think they like it. They do like it. That'd be cool. Let me see if I can do something here. Get this light on the side of them. Oh yeah, look at that. Try not to blind them at the same time, but man, you get that side light on a rainbow fish like that. That's beautiful. Alright, I gotta go feed the rest of my fish because it is that time in my fish room. I love how the corridors just frolic around in that. Yum, 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 yum. They're everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I think they need more food. For sure. Probably like 3 or 4 more throws of that food and they should be done. But alright, I'm gonna hop off here. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Whoa, that light is bright. But thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next time, everybody, peace. Have a great one. And thank you for the support and orders, you guys. Love ya.